Hi and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about a lawsuit I found super interesting, specifically the one between Billy Mitchell and Karl Jobst. If you don't know who either of these people are, Billy Mitchell is a guy who used to be known for his insane record in Donkey Kong, actually being the world record, with him even having a Guinness World Record for it. And Karl Jobst is a YouTuber who creates videos explaining and talking about speedrunning scandals and so on, in a really good and digestible way. You see, the reason why Billy Mitchell is a bit of a controversial figure and who has ended up in multiple lawsuits is because a lot of people believe that actually Billy Mitchell cheated on his world record. And the thing is, Billy Mitchell has taken that as being defamatory. Simply, some people didn't acknowledge him as being the god gamer that he is. He is the one who is in the Call of Duty lobbies. He isn't just a gamer, he is the game. He knows the game. And because of that, he decided to sue a bunch of people, including a few YouTubers, Twin Galaxies, amongst others, and Cartoon Network for that one episode of regular show where they have to fight a guy that ultimately explodes after losing in video games, where he says that it's a copy of him. Which maybe it is, but even if it is, I think it's kind of funny to admit that. And unfortunately, if you've been following all of the lawsuits and all of the things, you found out that today Karl Jobst lost the lawsuit he was in with Billy Mitchell. Now, there's a lot of reasons, a lot of things to discuss regarding the case. A lot of people think this was regarding Billy Mitchell actually not cheating in his record. That is actually not what is the defamatory claim Karl Jobst made, and that is regarding a YouTuber known as Apollo Legend, who unfortunately ended his own life a while ago now. And simply put, Karl Jobst kinda pinned that on Billy Mitchell in the following statement. So on May the 25th, 2021, Karl Jobst releases a video where he states the following. I haven't spoken about this publicly, but in this lawsuit ultimately ended with Apollo giving in and settling with Mitchell. He was forced to remove all his videos about Mitchell's cheating and paid him a large sum of money. This left him deeply in debt, which required him to find extra work. But with his ongoing health issues, this was all too much of a burden and he ultimately took his own life. Not that Billy Mitchell would ever care. Though in fact, Billy Mitchell thought Apollo died earlier and expressed joy at the thought. Now, the video was altered, of course, removing the section that mentioned all of the putting the blame directly on Billy Mitchell, and instead sounded as follows. He also sued YouTuber Apollo Legend for $1 billion. I haven't spoken about this publicly, but this lawsuit ultimately ended with Apollo giving in and settling with Mitchell. The lawsuit against Apollo was just as frivolous as the rest, and Apollo definitely would have won in court, but again, he was extremely ill and couldn't handle the ongoing stress. Now, after that video came out, apparently Billy Mitchell talked to Billy Mitchell's son, who ended up contacting Keemstar, because Keemstar has to be involved with all drama on this platform, regardless of what it is. And Keemstar mentions this information is wrong to Karl Jobst, who then edits it out. Of course, you can't walk around putting statements out that basically blames people for the death of other people when there's no direct proof of it, when it is apparently entirely alleged and it is not researched well enough. In general, especially if you are an online creator, you need to be 1,000,000% sure before you make a statement like that, especially in public, because honestly, I don't care how much you dislike the man, he does not deserve to have pin the death from somebody else on him if he has nothing to do with it, which it doesn't seem like he had. I think it is just a general thing where you always have to keep that in mind as a content creator. That being said, Karl Jobst was a lot more inexperienced then than he is now. It is almost 4 years ago today, and it has to be mentioned that of course you grow within 4 years. I mean, I have grown just on the 1 year I've been here on the platform, so I'd assume that 4 years will probably do a hell of a lot more. One other thing we also have to go into when we're talking about this case is the GoFundMe Karl Jobst made. Because Karl Jobst made a GoFundMe to raise legal money for his defense in this case. The issue is that a lot of people who donated were donating under the pretense that this lawsuit was about Karl Jobst saying that Billy Mitchell cheated in video games. However, as we know now, the case wasn't at all about video games, it was about the statement made about Apollo Legend. And given that context, that might have changed a lot of people's perspective on whether or not to donate, as that would likely change largely who is defaming who and why and so on. That is probably something that Karl Jobst also agrees on, as far as I can read. He also thinks this GoFundMe should have been more transparent with what this lawsuit was about, because everybody and their mom assumed that this was about Billy Mitchell being butthurt over being called a cheater, something which he has done many a times, so it wouldn't even be outside of the realm of possibility that he was just angry that somebody was calling him out. It's just one of those really unfortunate situations. Of course, you can't run around here claiming that people, are responsible for the people in their own lives, especially on a case like that. It opens you up for defamation, and this is what we're also seeing here. The thing is also with this case is probably that Karl couldn't just go out there and be like, hey bro, hey guys, hey ladies, the reason why I need this money is this thing, because often in a defamation case, at least as far as I can tell, and as far as I've been able to research myself, you probably can't just go out there and say anything. You're probably being told to shut up. Just don't talk, don't react to anything. And for that reason, he probably didn't react a whole lot. And that has unfortunately led some people to falsely believe something that just wasn't the case, including myself. I think most people did. And that is something that, of course, Karl Jobst, like I mentioned, he agrees with. There should have been more transparency. There should have been much more clear notes on what exactly this was. And that's like a mistake that happens, right? And I don't think Karl Jobst is any worse of a content creator for it. I mean, like most other people, I'd also love to see Karl Jobst just give a response and an update on like why it wasn't as transparent as it could possibly be, and like whether it was just a mistake or like what it was. I also think it has to be said that I think the smoking gun that this case really was like the entire Apollo Legend thing. Unfortunately, I think that was used as a smoking gun against Karl Jobst when, in my opinion, that segment of that video, allegedly, was probably just a huge mistake and really wasn't meant in the way that it was taken. And I mean, it also has to be mentioned that people like Mutahor from Someordinarygamers, who has done a collaboration with Karl Jobst specifically on the completionist case, he also mentions that yeah, Karl Jobst can sometimes make some pretty wild statements or dramatize the videos a bit more than he would, and he probably didn't have the, those legal powers to sort of help him out with it. And that's a pretty big shame, as it will, kind of cost him a lot now for it. Hopefully though, and I genuinely believe that, it was a mistake and it's something that happens, and I think it's a learning process. It's just a very expensive mistake. And unfortunately it happens to somebody like Karl Jobst, who seems to, from all I can see, be super nice and kind of professional about things when he can and when he knows to. Like with the entire completionist thing, Karl seemed completely fine and they even say it, professional, whereas this is obviously an old video that's been taken up and now in modern day, where some things he would probably have done over given the chance. And I'd also just assume straight up that of course some things would probably fine when you are lower sub-channel than they will when you are higher. Like you probably have different standards. And if Karl Jobst doesn't have a legal team that can like read through or like at least somewhat check over his different things, he probably should get that out of say. As some people mentioned that at least the idea of having like a legal team could like help you come through these videos a lot faster and just make sure that you don't say anything that could come back and bite you in the ass afterwards. Unfortunately, this is how this situation will turn out. I will say personally, I feel really bad for Karl Jobst. Of course, you can't just say something like that. Everybody can point at that right now and tell you that is defamation by like the textbook definition. You're pinning somebody else for murder that they haven't done, or like Not directly a murder, but the death of somebody else that they didn't have really anything to do with. And I think it's a bit of a shame that the story ends like this, right? Because everybody was hoping for Karl Jobst to win, and I'll still continue to watch his content. I still think he's pretty cool. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video and everything like that, and if you did, have a wonderful night, day, or just midday, depending on where you are, you know. Have a wonderful day wherever you might be, and I'll see you all later. Bye. And of course, everything that I've said is alleged. I am not 100% sure for anything in this video. I'm not a legal expert or anything like that. I have linked all my sources down in the description, and that's about the best I can do, and I'll see you all in the next one.